Hello everybody and welcome to Cheat Bashing. In this video I'm going to forge a Hellcast Eternal Chaos unit from a Stormcast Reclusian. After cutting all the pieces off the sprue, I test assemble to see what parts get covered by the larger cape on the back. To remove the symbol of Sigmar from the shield, I start off with my clippers, then I use my knife to cut off and scrape all of the larger pieces that are left to make the face of the shield smooth. Then I use sanding stick to smooth the surface even further, and finally I will spread some plastic cement all over the surface with my finger. For the axe I remove the gemstones with my clippers and cover all of the runes with some green stuff. After priming all of the pieces in black, I glue the torso together and then I finish off the base coat with some more black with a paintbrush. As always, I take my trusty pet rock and then I dry brush some lead belcher all over the metallic parts of the armor. Now we're not gonna go for a golden demon level paint job. I have just noticed that this is a real quick and easy way to get a dark metallic finish on the armor. Good for maybe a tabletop standard or army painting. The trim on the shield gets the same treatment as well, and also the blade of the axe. For the cape on his waist, I base in corn red and layer all the folds first with Mephisto red, and the very last highlights get done with Evil Sun Scarlet. This is a really easy way to get a nice flowing red cape. Also, if you want, you could do this with stippling or dry brushing to get different textures and shapes on the cloak. And here I check the fit of the overcoat or the cape that goes over his shoulder to see that it looks alright. The leather on the small scabbard gets base coated in Morfang brown, and all the trim gets painted with Retributor armor to give the model a classic golden chaos trim. I wanted the decorative shoulder pad to look like an animal skull, so I started base coating the shape in with Celestial Grey to get a better coverage over the black. I use the same grey to base coat the flames of the axe and prepare it for the flaming flames effect. For the shield I wanted to do a freehand chaos star, so I sketch a quick design on it that will get refined later. For the flame effect, I first base coat and stipple some white all over the axe, and then I use Imperial Fist contrast paint for the brightest parts of the flames. Then I use some thinned down Evil Sun Scarlet to cover 90% of the flames. The very coldest parts and tips of the flames get covered in corn red and some black. The white shoulder pad gets covered not in one, but 2 layers of skeleton horde. After looking at some reference photos of the Star of Chaos, I start refining the shape on the shield. The best part about this, since the star is all wonky anyways, you won't need to be a master at freehanding to make it look good. And I think the shield would have looked quite good if left at this point, but I wanted to add some extra chaos vibes to the shield, so I glued some twine on the face of the shield to look like some rope that I could hang some skulls off of. I leave small bits of the sprue tabs on that came in the skulls to act as anchor points that I can glue down onto the rope. After base coating the skulls in some Screaming Skull paint, I darkened the rope with some diluted Morfang brown. Then it is time to put some superwash all over the skulls and rope. The superwash consists of 50% Skeleton Horde, 50% Agrax Earthshade, and 50% Lamium Medium. For those mathematically inclined, that all adds up to 150%. For the cape, I started with pure black and then built up highlights with grey, going super wide with the coverage, before darkening it all down with some black Templar. I did this several times before eventually deeming it good enough to glue it onto the back of the model. For the flaming ember effect on the cloak, I start by dotting the burning parts in pure white. Then I do all the same steps as with the flame effect on the axe and put Imperial Fist and then Evil Sun Scarlet, going darker towards the center of the dots. Putting dots of black to the middle and to the edges of the cloak makes it look like the burns have made holes in it. And this was totally an idea that I stole from Dark Souls 3 when you pop an ember. To brighten up the burn effect, I did thin outlines with white and then painted it with yellow again. Unlike all my other videos, we are going to finish this one with some good head. That is also the only part that comes from another kit. I had my inspiration for this model from this Exalted Warrior of Chaos, so I decided to paint the helmet with Skull Crusher's brass. The horns get a base coat with Morfang brown, and the skull gets base coated in Screaming Skull. The highlights of the horns comes from mixing the brown and white paints together. I also added some darker streaks with Agrax Earthshade to the horns off camera. I add 2 red dots for the eyes, then I can coat the skull with the same superwash from earlier. After all that is done, I decapitate the head from the sprue tab and do a test fit onto the model. after getting the posing down and gluing the head together, it is time for the beauty shots. This was a real fun and simple build, only basically doing a chaosified paint job and then adding an extra chaos head, so it should be real simple and easy to do at home. Remember to dislike the video, report the channel, and leave a hate comment down below. Thanks.